fuckers. Okay.
Speak for yourself.
Speak for yourself, motherfuckers. Right, okay. Okay, the intro's on. I'm just gonna mute my...
Clovidosh leads under Pixelite. Onesies got stats, snaps this fly scheme. Twisty drops, laugh, chasing a dream. Pokechats flying like Pokeballs thrown. Tales of battles, roads they've known. Electric banter charged like Raichu's tail. Every word's a spark, every joke a trail. Trainer lounge screaming loud in the night. Gotta catch the words, feel the fire burn bright. Fast takes for minds that never slow. Got podcast beats where the talk can glow. Clovidosh fires off facts like a cannon. Onesie counters with knowledge he's planning. Twisty cracks white slide grin, no doubt. Napster lays down truth, making the crowd shout. Endless voices like Zubat swarm. The lounge's energy breaks any norm. Wild and reckless, but always on track. Four friends talking, they ain't holding back. Trainer lounge screaming loud in the night. Gotta catch the words, feel the fire burn bright. Fast takes for minds that never slow. Podcast beats where the talk can glow. Endless voices like Zubat swarm. The lounge's energy breaks any norm. Wild and reckless, but always on track. Four friends talking, they ain't holding back. Trainer lounge screaming loud in the night. Gotta catch the words, feel the fire burn bright. Fast takes for minds that never slow. Podcast beats where the talk can glow. Where the talk can glow. Podcast beats where the talk can glow. Podcast beats where the talk can glow. Where the talk can glow. Plug it in, power up, voices ignite. Clovidosh leads under Pixelite. Onesies got stats, snaps this fly scheme. Twisty drops, laugh, chasing a dream. Pokechats flying like Pokeballs thrown. Tales of battles, roads they've known. Electric banter charged like Raichu's tail. Every word's a spark, every joke a trail. Trainer lounge screaming loud in the night. Gotta catch the words, feel the fire burn bright. Fast takes for minds that never slow. Got podcast beats where the talk can glow. Clovidosh fires off facts like a cannon. Onesie counters with knowledge he's planning. Twisty cracks white slide grin, no doubt. Napster lays down truth, making the crowd shout. Endless voices like Zubat swarm. The lounge's energy breaks any norm. Wild and reckless, but always on track. Four friends talking, they ain't holding back. Trainer lounge screaming loud in the night. Gotta catch talk can glow.
How you been finding the new schedule, by the way?
Good, man. Good. We're live. Hello, everyone. Yeah, the new schedule is a lot of fun. Obviously, once we finish up this episode, I'm going to log on to Minecraft to record a 45-minute episode, then upload that for
cool.
midnight for Monday. I've already got a GTA ready for Tuesday. Scarlet and Violet's getting uploaded 3 times a week, which is cool. So Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday to mix it up. So we've got content every day on the channel, and obviously the podcast on the weekend too. So, but
Hell yeah.
hello everyone. Before we do start, I just want to check everyone's levels. Onesie, let's check yours first.
Hello, fam. What we saying?
Onesie's fine. Napster Potato.
Hello, 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 hello.
And we also have, I'm assuming Twisty's is fine because of last week, but Twisty, go for it.
I don't know if my level is fine.
It's fine. What are the odds? It's fine.
Ah, crap. I
Bef-
guess I took
Crazy.
the wrong slider.
Before we do the
I
intro,
wanted to make that joke with the microphone.
just hello to chat. Hello to Sophie. Hello to Elias. Hello to Shin. Hello guys. How are you all today? So for those who actually, I'll let Twisty do the intro first, and then we'll get into it. All right, Twisty, the floor is yours.
I was not prepared for that.
I'm just gonna keep waving, bro. Just gonna keep doing it.
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Trainer Lounge podcast, the one product on the internet where you don't have to question whether the price is worth it or not because it's free for you to watch. I can see Onesie face palming, kind of. My name is Twisty, and we are as a full quartet today, of course, being joined by our enabler. I'm just gonna call you that for the rest of time now.
Enabler.
MFG, Flop.
Hello.
Then we have the walking PNG, Naps the Potato. And Mr. Facepalm, I'm actually a kitty cat, Onesie Burnett.
Nyan nyan, motherfuckers. What we saying?
Okay, that was probably the worst intro in Trainer Lunch history. I apologize.
Mate, we've had
We're
some
out-
bad ones over the years.
We're out of practice.
We are, but we're very much out of practice. Hello, everyone. This is episode 2, all right? Me and Twisty ran the shot last week. Twisty showed up. Obviously, Napster and Onesie was on strike, demanding a pay rise. I don't get paid either, so fuck them, they ain't getting paid. So
They get paid for this?
I mean, they was demanding a pay rise from their job, not from me. Okay, that's what I meant to say.
Ah, okay.
Bray said MFG thoughts on the Xbox showcase. We will get into it, Bray. Don't you worry. We'll get into it because I know Naps has got a few things he wants to say. Some of it does involve Game Freak, believe it or not. But I just want to say, welcome to episode 2. This is how the podcast will run at its finest form with all of these gentlemen joining me. Okay. With one,
Oh, I wouldn't exactly say finest.
I mean, no,
Listen, I know I'm cooked. I'm a potato.
no. I
Hey.
think this podcast is the best when it's 4 of us here, bro. Like with 2 of us, we can bounce back and forth and have fun, but the 4 of us is fucking chaotic and it's great. But obviously, Onesie and Napster was not here last week. So you guys have already heard from me and Twisty from last week when we said hello. But Onesie, please introduce yourself to the MFG channel and tell us about yourself and who you are. Exactly. Who are you? You cat. What the fuck are you?
Wow. Hello, motherfuckers. My name is Onesie Burnett. I am a seasoned Pokemon Draft League aficionado. I'm also the king of Pokemon Academy life. And I do random stupid shit on YouTube here myself. I have known Mr. MFG for the best part of, 10, 15 years now? No, not 15. Like 11, 12, 11 years. Probably a bit longer. A long-ass time. Too long. And yeah, we've just always kind of bonded over our Pokemon.
Nearly 15. Nearly 15.
Yeah, getting on 15.
Next show. Yeah.
But yeah, I am here to tell jokes about 9/11 and be the king of the soundboard. So yeah, looking forward to introducing my chaos to everyone.
Yes, that is Onesie Burnett. Okay, listen. His humour does not represent my values.
Yes, it fucking does.
I prefer to laugh at innocent children.
Does not
Joking.
represent my values.
But yes, Onesie is the longest member of the Trainer Lounge podcast, obviously other than myself. Onesie has been here since day one because we actually created this shit together, man. But obviously, somewhere down the line, our German native ran into us and just decided to actually be a guest, and then decided to be a guest again and again. And then I was like, fuck it, just join the team, right? Just join the team, it's cool. Just come and join the team. Right, but from over the pond, we have our... Napster's been with us over a year now. Napster, introduce yourself, my brother.
Hello. I know that y'all know me. You've put up with me more than anyone should be required to in a lifetime, between Pokemon, between my faction, and between the podcast. Y'all have seen me talk bullshit during the actual my faction streams, talking about cards, talking about wrestlers. You've seen me on videos on the channel, or heard me on videos. You haven't seen me. This is my true form, the one, the only, Ethan Potato from Johto.
Ethan Potato.
Ethan Potato, I love it.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back on the grid after being out in the woods last weekend during the podcast, and I'm excited to talk some shit and bash some Pokemon.
Bashing Pokemon. Yeah.
Speaking of bashing Pokemon, there's a strange thing that's come up in chat. People talking about which Pokemon they'd smash.
Uh-oh.
Someone said Drampa.
So
I mean, go get yourself that Gilf. More power to you.
man said, someone go and get yourself that Gilf, bro. What? No,
I was gonna say Dilf because dragon.
What Pokemon would you smash though? Mine would have to be Miltank. Those others though, you know what I mean? But it's just swinging them back and forth. No. Let's be honest. It's probably fucking Gardevoir, right?
Like most of the internet. I don't know if you three have seen that video of Joker's got the Batman tied up. It's like, I caught a Pokemon, Batman. I caught a Pokemon.
Yeah.
I caught a Lopunny, Batman.
No.
You can't, Joker. It's an animal. There's no laws against the Pokemon, Batman.
Oh man, that is fucking out of order. So normally, the problem this podcast is plagued with over the years, there's never news, and then we just have to randomly just incoherently ramble bollocks for 2 hours. And today's probably no different because there's no news, right, Onesie boys?
It's the same thing even if we have news. What are you talking about?
You know what? You're not wrong, but the difference is we ramble incoherently on context. But there's nothing happening this week. There's no mad releases or anything, right? Can anyone think of anything that's happened this week? No? Nothing at all?
Boring ass shit from minor indie companies.
Yeah.
I might have heard some whistling in the wind about something, but I'm not sure. It might have just been my imagination.
What's that you've got there, MFG? What's that?
Can we switch the topic?
Hey! Nice. No, well, so
Did you mod your Switch to make it bigger?
So look at the difference.
Nintendo, for legal purposes, that is a joke. Do not brick my man.
Do not brick MFG.
Do not break my console, bro. So look, it feels really weird because back in 2017, March the 3rd, we had the wonderful Nintendo Switch dropping. And I just want to ask you boys, before we get into the brand new generation, I just want to take one more look back at the Switch. And overall, what did you think of it? Do you think it was a success for you? Obviously, in the terms of Nintendo, of course it was a success. But in terms of what you wanted from the console, from the whole generation, are you happy? Did you want more? What are your thoughts and feelings? We'll go with Onesie first.
Okay, so for me, the Switch came out while I was a broke university student, and I still had a Wii U. So I delayed myself getting a Switch for quite a while, just because I couldn't afford it for one. I had no money being a uni student, and there was no Pokemon for me to play either. So it took me quite a while to get onto the Switch bandwagon. But once I did, I realized what an absolute godsend this console was. Like, Sure, it had performance issues, and for those of you from an Xbox and PS3, PS4, PS5 background, obviously, it wasn't the greatest performance-wise, and it kind of became a bit of a laughing stock in terms of its actual quality, like towards the end of its life cycle. But my God, when that thing was in its prime, we had things like Splatoon 2, Breath of the Wild, Xenoblade Chronicles, some incredible, incredible games. And I just think that console has been with me for all of my young adult life. So I'm kind of sad, like not in a, like a really sentimental sad way, but like in almost like a bittersweet way. Yeah, it's kind of like a part of my life is coming to an end. It's kind of bittersweet, but I'm ready for it, So I'm happy to see it go, but I've got some very, very fond memories with it.
Okay. Napster, what about you?
I was also very, very late to the Switch party. My first Switch game was Animal Crossing New Horizons during the height of the pandemic. Give you some
What a game.
context.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And honestly, overall, the Switch was a fantastic console. Everything I wanted was perfect with the exception of one franchise. One franchise left me wanting on the Switch. And I'm sure y'all can guess which one that is. There are some absolute bangers that we've had. I plan on getting to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom because I've heard nothing but good things about them. But also, I haven't played a full Zelda game ever before, so we're getting there. Obviously, Fire Emblem thrived on the Switch. Xenoblade was fantastic on the Switch. We just had a lot of really good games, and the Switch is probably, across the entire library, the best Nintendo console, but the 3DS probably is more memorable. And I think it's going to go down as one of Nintendo's most historic consoles.
Okay, before we go into Twisted, just so chat are aware, you said, I know you love tons of franchises, so I actually wouldn't be too surprised if Pokemon wasn't the one that let you down, so to speak. But was it Pokemon?
It was Pokemon. Pokemon had one really good installment on the Switch, and the rest of them were kind of mediocre.
Okay, awesome, man. I appreciate you telling
I'm
us that.
still not sure why you like BDSP, but that's your thing.
Well, before we go to Twisted, I'm just going to read out Shin's messages. Shin said, excuse me, I had fun on it, but I still have so much I want. I was wanting distributions like Jirachi on pre-order cartridges if I had to ask for something, but that was never going to happen. I will still be using mine. It's the only way to store my 6 to 8 saves. Elias said hard relay, also a lockdown Switch baby. And Shin said Pokemon let you down, didn't it?
Pokemon let us all down, Shin.
So, Twisty, obviously, I've got a lot to say about the Switch, but what did the Switch mean to you, man? Over your years having it, when did you get it? Thoughts and feelings.
So for me, the Switch was basically my window into actual streaming for the first time. I got it around early 2019, and yeah, I basically got the Smash Bros. Ultimate bundle because I really wanted to get back into Smash Bros. And yeah, while I'd never really streamed Smash Bros. Outside of the time that Sora was released, the thing that I really love about the Switch was that it gave me some gaming capabilities that I wasn't used to on the fly, which is something that I really adore the console for, even though it has clear issues, obviously. It also reconnected me to Xenoblade Chronicles because I had Xenoblade 1 on the 3DS, but that really didn't blow my world on fire. What? Set my world on fire. And yeah, with Xenoblade 2, Xenoblade 1 Definitive Edition, Xenoblade 3, there's so many good things to talk about. I could literally sit here for 6 hours and just talk about one game.
The Nintendo Switch Memorial
regardless
stream.
Honestly.
Regardless of just that one franchise, I really do think that this console should be remembered in at least the good light that it gave us for what we can and should expect from portable gaming, so to speak, and that's portable. That the portability and connecting with your friends can and should at some points at least become a main seller, because the Switch, obviously, Nintendo, it's a family product basically, and yeah, I have a lot of great memories with the console. I have of course started streaming with the Switch. It's near and dear to my heart because of that, and I think I'm gonna miss. I'm gonna remember it well. I'm gonna miss it once Nintendo stops producing games for a Switch and just goes for Switch 2.
Awesome answer, man. And I knew all three of you would have fantastic answers for that, by the way. So for me, I think I'm just gonna say this: it's without Nintendo, and I don't mean to be emotional or anything like that. It is true, as one will know this. Without Nintendo, I have nothing. Okay, and before people go, "Oh, bro, what?" I genuinely have nothing. Okay, so without Nintendo, I don't meet Onesie. I mean, I would have met Onesie through college, but we nowhere.
But it wouldn't have been as instant connection, would it?
Nowhere near would have been as close, because that was our one thing we had in common to talk about amongst. Right, and that was the one thing that really bonded me and Onesie together as best friends, right?
Fun fact for the MFG guys, before you carry on, I genuinely thought Gaz was coming to, like, take the piss out of me or try and rob me or something the first time that we met.
I was just a nerd, man. I saw someone play. I was like, oh my god, another Nintendo fan. So without Nintendo in the first place, I never would have met Onesie. Right now, without the Nintendo Switch, now I don't know about you boys. I'm going a bit nostalgic now. I remember going on YouTube and seeing a channel called Etika, right? Rest in peace, Etika, and seeing the Nintendo NX ? And I clicked on this video, and Etika was talking about the Nintendo Direct that was talking about the brand new Nintendo NX console, right? And this was like October 2016. And I watched it, and I was like, wow. And I remember this guy walking up to the console, playing on a little joypad, then grabbing the console with these two mini controllers and lifting it out. And I was like, wait, what? Shit, you can play this shit portable? Huh? Right? And I got the Switch on launch, bro. I had money. I lived with my dad. I didn't pay rent. I had loads of money. I bought the Switch on launch. Breath of the Wild. Got that. I was loving life, right? And then I remember one day the Direct for Pokemon Legends, Arceus, and BDSP came on, and that's when I said to Onesie, I want to start a podcast, man. I want to start up a podcast to do with Pokemon, and boom, the Trainer Lounge died. So without Nintendo, without Pokemon, and this whole generation, I wouldn't have this. And the biggest thing, by far, I'll wrap this up with, without Pokemon, I do not have my fiance, alright? Without Pokemon, I don't meet Sophie. Without her, without Sophie, I don't have the life I have now. So I literally owe everything I have to this franchise and this company. So Nintendo, thank you for the last 8 years. It's been a lot of fun. It's been good. Some games are a bit trash. BDSP. But other than that, I'm just gonna say a few bangers, just a few little bouters, so we can move on. Animal Crossing: New Horizons. Unbelievable game, quality game. Now I just want to see if you boys agree with any of these. Okay, so Animal Crossing: New Horizons, yay or no? Yeah. Okay.
Not for me. I'm just not an Animal Crossing fan.
No, that's fair. Napster. I mean, you started with AC, right? AC New Horizons.
Yeah, it was good.
I think it's fair to say that Animal Crossing probably saved so many people's lives.
I actually agree.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild. Absolutely.
Big thumbs up.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Okay.
I haven't played either of the last two.
I would give 3 thumbs up, but I only have 2 hands.
Tears of the Kingdom. You not fan ones?
Haven't played.
Haven't played.
Haven't played.
Wow. Okay. Twisty, I assume you have, right?
Yeah, it's just... I noticed a clear difference in performance with Tears of the Kingdom, and I was like...
That's fair.
Dragged down.
Sorry.
There's 3
were like-
maps though, no? Because obviously it's got the Skylands, it's got the mainland, and it's got the Underdepth. So I think I can forgive it a little bit. I think I can forgive Tears of the Kingdom for that.
Play that
And-
shit on the Switch too and see how it plays. That's the real litmus test.
And from obviously the Pokemon Company, I'm only going to say 2 bangers for the Switch generation, and that is number 1, Pokemon Snap. And
Didn't play.
you don't think so? I think Snap was quite good for what it was. Maybe
I played 2 hours and got bored.
you know what? I did get, but I think it just looked beautiful. I think that was my thing. I think it just
It
looked
did.
beautiful.
It fucking did.
I'm not gonna count remakes because they're just remade for the system. I'm on about games that came out, and Legends Arceus, in my opinion,
Let's go. Let's go.
Pokemon's biggest game for the Switch, in my opinion, was Legends Arceus in terms of the best game. Now, before we do move on, I just want to know what is everyone's worst game of the Switch that you've at least played or had the least enjoyment. I'll go first. BDSP, fuck it.
I haven't actually played BDSP myself,
You
so
saved-
I
you
can't
saved
use
yourself.
that as mine.
You saved.
I
yourself.
have the game. My brother bought it me for Christmas. I said to him, just, what do I like? Buy me something that you think I'd like. And to his credit, he went out and he bought me a Pokemon game for the Switch. But the first time he's ever bought me a Pokemon game, it happens to be the one game out of protest I chose not to purchase.
It's just on your. It's just on your shelf. I'm not playing you, bro. Nah, stay in that plastic, you bitch.
It got taken out of the plastic because I think I lent it to a friend because he hadn't played like Diamond and Pearl. So I was like, well, you can try that if you want, but otherwise it would still be in the plastic.
No,
And
fair.
it was in the plastic for a good year.
So what's the worst game then, if not BDSP, because you've not played it?
I need to think about it. I'll let the other two go first.
Napster. What would you say is your worst game?
See, I don't really have one because BDSP wasn't the worst thing I've played. There are worse games that I've played than BDSP.
Really?
I've branched out a lot in different things.
That's true. That's true.
Honestly, there's not a Switch game that I was really like, you know what? This was just really bad.
I could get you to play a game to change your mind.
Oh,
WWE 2K18.
I didn't see. I have a PlayStation. I would never buy a sports game on my Switch.
Bro,
Oh, can you imagine?
it's one of the biggest refunded games in Switch. It's mad. It's mad. It was that bad. It was a crash fest. It was ridiculous. Twisty, what's your worst game? He's gonna say Scarlet and Violet, isn't he?
You know, when I look at the concept of Scarlet and Violet, I see a mid game. It's not necessarily bad. It's probably gonna be BDSP for me as well.
Did you
was
actually
gonna
play
say-
BDSP?
As a joke, I was gonna say Xenoblade 3,
Oh,
even though it's my favorite game. I just wanted to confuse people, but
You would have confused me.
yeah,
So
I
you,
strayed away
you
from
have
that
played
joke.
BDSP though, yeah? You have played, haven't you?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
thought
played
that.
it on release. I played it through to completion in 11 hours, and I never touched it since.
that's like 11 hours too much.
Yeah, I know. And it only took me 11 hours because I got lost. I played so much platinum that it's overwritten my knowledge of Diamond and Pearl. I didn't know where to go anymore.
Valid.
There's
think
a
having-
huge steep of difference, aren't there? Yeah, sorry, one's gone.
Having thought about it, mine's probably. Does this count? Temtem.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's
no, that's fair.
Does it count?
Of course it does.
Okay.
It's a Switch game. Yeah.
It played like ass. I just couldn't play
If
it.
anyone says Tetris 99 or I'll punch your nan in the face.
Oh, that game's fire. That game is sick.
amazing, bro. So me and Sophie was playing it today at her mum's. Actually, she was getting into it, man. She was getting into it.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So we've had some decent answers. So moving over from the Switch again. Shout out to Nintendo. You made
Before
some
we
interesting choices.
move-
Go on.
Sorry, before we move over to the Switch, I think I'd like it if the four of us could do a little salute to the Switch. Just to say thank you for the decade of.
Let me get my now dead Switch that died one day before, by the way.
Oh!
I know Napster's doing it. So that's a fun thing. So the Thursday it came out. What day was it? The Thursday, the 5th of June, right? 6th or 5th?
Thursday, yeah.
Was it 6? 5? What day
It
was
would have been the 6th. No, the 5th. The 5th.
I literally got it like what, 3 days ago. 5th of June. Sorry, 5th of June. I wanted to do a stream to do one last playthrough, well, one last shiny hunt on Scarlet and Violet, just so I could see how bad it is one more time. And I think it's poetic that the last game before my Switch eventually kicked the bucket was Scarlet and Violet, ironically enough. So, and the next day, like, Twisty was there with me in the general chat. Twisty could probably see the panic in my typing. I was like, oh my god, there's 5 minutes left, Switch. Please just hang on. Just hang on, bro. Just get the transfer done. And I got the transfer done, and I shit you not, 1 minute later, dead. And now, look, watch. It comes on. It brings back to life, and then after like 10 seconds, boom. Bang. And it's fucking dead. And yeah, that's the story of how my Switch 1 died. But shout out to lasting till the very last day, man. I appreciate you, Switch. Thank you.
Nintendo bricked it to force you to buy a Switch 2.
I already bought it. Fuck them, you know? What are they going to do? So, that is the big news. Nintendo Switch 2 is now in the wild. Excuse the pun. And, okay, I want to get in, because I know me and Napster, we had basically concretely was getting the Switch day one, right? So I'm going to go to Napster first. Napster, what was your experience day one of the Switch 2? Probably waiting for the post, right? I imagine.
I was gonna say, shout out to the post, seeing as I was promised by the delivery service 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning, and then 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning became 9:30 to 11:30 a.m., and then it became 10:30 to 2:30 a.m., and then it became 12:30 to 4:30 p.m., and then it became by 8 p.m. I ended up getting it about 4 p.m.
Oh, that must have felt horrible.
Man was just sitting.
I was
upside
sitting
down on
there.
the wall.
So I actually had the app open and I was tracking where the driver was. I was like, that motherfucker drove right past our apartment and didn't drop it off.
Should have gone to me.
I was.
You know,
I could have.
you know the
Just
meme?
rock up at someone's house and be like, yo, you've got a package for me.
You know the meme of someone's eyes just through the blinds as they just watch the streets. I just imagine that's Napster, just like, where is this motherfucker, man?
So Twin went to midnight release, got hers that night, and then I'm just sitting there like, I ordered mine like 2 months ago. This should be fine, and then waited all day for it.
At least you got it launch day, though, I suppose. And
Yes.
I imagine your experience was staring at the home screen waiting for all of your library to download, right?
Yup. I remember I was talking to you while you were streaming, and you're just like, what have you seen so far? What have you played so far on the Switch 2? And it's like, the download screen.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, Nat, what have you played? He was like, yeah, the download screen, bro. I was like, oh, okay, first. My bad.
Yeah, go on.
I have played 3 games now. I played Scarlet and Violet, I played Legends Arceus, and I played Potion Craft.
Ooh, Potion Craft, let's go!
Yeah,
One
'cause
of
you
these
didn't
things
get
that's
them-
not like the others.
You didn't get the Mario Kart bundle, did you?
No, when I went to pre-order, the Mario Kart bundle had sold out, and because I got mine delivered, I couldn't go in store and upgrade.
Okay. No, that's fair. Okay. And I know you have a Switch 2 as well, so we're going to get into yours. My delivery day, I got a notification it would arrive between 10:30 in the morning and like 4:30 in the afternoon. Royal Mail, right? So it's just, they just basically say 6 hours, sit by the front door and wait, you bastard, right? On the dot at 10:30, I got a knock on the door. We also had 4 Amazon deliveries, so it's a roll up of whoever the fuck it's going to be. And some guy just threw the parcel at me. Essentially, just went, here you go. I didn't sign for it or anything. And there was my beautiful Nintendo Switch 2. And the first game I played was actually Mario Kart World. We'll get into Mario Kart World, but unbelievable. There's a few caveats about that game I want to talk about though on this podcast because there's a few issues, but we'll get into that. Second game I played, obviously, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We're definitely going to talk about that today too. I've played Tetris 99, and I've played Legends Arceus just to test a few things really. But Onesie, what's your experience with the Switch 2? When did you get it? And what made you get it? Because you were on the fence, right?
Yeah, I was on the fence for a while, and I was pretty sort of adamant that I wasn't going to get it at least for a month or so. Part of me wanted to wait for an OLED version to come out. The other part of me was like, well, you know, I can wait for next month's pay to come through. But then I was sat in a call with my good friends, Ellie and Amber. That's Gravy and Ellie Sucks, if anyone knows them. And they basically just rattled off. I watched Ellie play a Draft League match in call. She streamed it to us. And I just watched it be so buttery smooth. And I was like, that looks so good. So I was like, well, can I justify this to myself? And what they said to me was, right, how much do you make from YouTube? And I said to myself, okay, well, I make, £60 every 2 months? And she was like, okay, well, you'll have that paid back in approximately 2 years of YouTube payments. If you don't grow at all. So I was like, fuck, I kind of have to do this, don't I? So I did, and I ordered it.
Smart.
I think I ordered it on the day it came out because I wanted to see people's experiences with it. I was actually sat in your stream, Flob, watching you play Scarlet and Violet, and I was like, oh my god, this looks so nice. And then I went and watched Ellie and Amber stream a bit of it, and I ordered it that day. So on the Saturday, I believe it was, or Friday. No, it's Friday. On the Friday, I had a Draft League match that I needed to play. So about 11 o'clock, I get a knock on the door. I was like, oh my god, it's going to be in my package. So I go to the door. My partner had bought a skirt. So I got faked out. I sit down to play the Draft League match. We're having some technical issues with network and Wi-Fi and things, so it keeps disconnecting. And then while we're waiting for the person I was playing to reset their Wi-Fi, package comes. So I'm quickly like, shit, do I run down now, or do I get my partner to do it? So I got her to go and do it. And halfway through the match, because we'd restarted by the time she came up, I'm fucking balls deep with a Baxcalibur, about to fucking smash my opponent to pieces. I look behind me, and my partner's standing there holding the box, just right there in front of me. And I'm like, ah!
Where did you order it from? What site?
Just got it off of Amazon.
I mean, yeah, we mentioned this before you joined the call. The Napster asked about whether it was sold out over here, and I was saying they actually did a fantastic job at keeping loads available, right? Even after launch. I think there's some still probably available now, which is crazy. And I know, Twisty, I know you've made the conscious and very fair decision to not get the Switch 2 yet. And
Correct.
what's your main reason? And by the way, it's a fair reason. Like I've told people many a time, if I did not make content, very similar to Onesie, I looked at how much I make on YouTube. I've already paid off. I did, none of my money was spent on the Switch 2. All come from YouTube. YouTube payment paid for this console. I did not pay a penny. So if I didn't,
thank you very much, MFG chat.
Shout out to all of you motherfuckers. I love you very much. And shout out to Napster and everyone else, by the way, in the Train Lounge community who drop subs and support the channel. Over the years, Napster himself's probably paid half of my Nintendo original Switch, right? So shout out to my brother Napster. But what was I gonna say? I was lost on thought.
You were gonna ask me about the reason.
Yeah. So as I said, it's very fair, and I understand it completely. But what is your reasoning? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that can probably relate to your thinking.
So in the past, we have, especially in the past few years, I want to say since 2020 or so started, we've seen problematic state in electronics entertainment. And that is that things are released in a haphazard state. It's either released early, there is some day one patch thing, which is one of the most shit things that have ever happened in modern entertainment media.
I have
just
thoughts
in
about
general.
that, but I'll save them until afterwards.
Okay. So just because I have become so much more cautious about buying things either on release or even pre-ordering them, which, no offense to anyone pre-ordering, I really mean it, I just don't think that you should promise a company to buy something whichever state it is in, and you're saying you're okay with it because you already paid for it. It's something that I'm not doing anymore. Not even with something like Xenoblade Chronicles 4, if that ever comes out. I'm not gonna pre-order it. I'm gonna buy it like close to release, maybe on release day. But I'm not gonna pre-order
At
anything
least get
anymore.
reviews, right, and get a feel on it and whatnot.
Well, I know it sounds kind of ridiculous, but I don't want companies to. I don't want my voice to be used from companies to think that it doesn't matter in quotation marks what state something is released in, because I already told them I'm gonna pay you full money anyway. So that's why I just have personally made the decision not to pre-order anything anymore. And something similar is now with a console. A console is a huge money sink. Like, fair game to anyone who can afford it on release day. I possibly could have done it if I was able to like switch some funds here and there.
Switch?
But
Switchy, nice.
I'm in the middle of an explanation, dickheads.
My bad.
No, but seriously, for it sounds like a little bit too. I'm only seeing my position on it, but I don't have the money to throw around for a console. So I'm making a very conscious decision to wait until I hear this is good about the Switch 2. This is something that's not good about the Switch 2. And then I'm gonna wager what's actually like my personal value out of the console. That is similar to what I did with the Switch 1, although in that case it was even worse money-wise, hilariously enough. And I actually had to buy it through paying off monthly instances. But despite that kind of thing, I'm just cautious. That's my thing.
Yeah.
So if it turns out that reviews are gonna be good, that there's not anything like technically really wrong. I've heard that the battery life is okay for the power that it delivers. So personally, I would say, yeah, okay. I can see myself getting it in somewhat of a near future, I guess,
Yeah.
because it's probably going to be very positive going forward. I don't see a lot of like huge criticisms other than the start that the release game roster, which fair game, that's really bad. Unless of course you want to count all the Switch upgrade games. I'm mixed on that.
And third party.
But
yeah.
yeah, I talked a long time. It's just I'm cautious. That's my point.
Okay, Wanzi, you were going to rebuttal something, right?
Well, I was going to say, because a lot of people were talking about the day one patch and how long it takes a lot of people. And I've heard a lot of people saying it's really, really long. So I prepared myself to have to put my Switch down for like basing it off of other consoles like the Xbox and PlayStation especially. A lot of their patches and software updates and stuff can take hours to download. I have had none of that. None of that. The patch took me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
10 minutes, that's all. Like, it took no time at all for me to get sorted. So, I'm not sure if people have just had their attention spans fucked by TikTok. But my God, it's a breeze.
Yeah, mine took 4 minutes in total.
I was going to say.
Sorry,
mine
what
was
kind
about
of download speeds do you guys have? Because that also pays into it.
Yeah,
True.
I mean, to be fair, I do have good internet. Like, I pay, I can't tell you, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know I've got like a good speed. My partner says it's one of the reasons why she moved in with me.
that. She beat me to it.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
I know I have really good internet. Our internet is 1 gig, one gig up, 1 gig down.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Mine's not that good, but it only took me 5 minutes. I don't know what to tell you. I think it's overblown though. I'll be honest. When you said day one patch, I thought you meant BDSP. I didn't even know you were talking about Switch. But no, I didn't.
The Switch 2 also has a day one patch.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have even known, bro. I just got out of the box, and I think because I was getting my other Switch ready to try and transfer, I didn't even notice it go down, to be honest. So, but just to follow up on your point, I think, and me and Twisted did speak about this last week for Napster and Onesie, who wasn't there. And I think it's fair, there's going to be hundreds, if not millions, of families out there that just cannot afford a Switch 2, because regardless of whether it's worth the price or not, which in my opinion it is, it's very expensive. And most families out there won't make content like me, Onesie, Napster, right? Like, where we're probably going to get our money back for it over time, right? A lot of families are not going to do that. A lot of families are going to have to buy a Switch, and if they've got more than one kid, they'll have to buy more Joy-Cons. You know, it's a fucking expensive money sink, bro. And not to mention, the majority of games coming out right now are all available on the normal Switch anyway, apart from Mario Kart World and maybe a select few. But Pokemon, if you don't have to get a Switch 2 to play Legends ZA, in my opinion, you should, but you don't have to. You can play it on the Switch 1. However, the performance probably won't be good on the Switch 1, I'll be honest. But what is your personal... So, I've spoke about what you did with the Switch 2 when you first had it. Now you've had it in your hands, or you've played with it for a while, what are your feelings? Are you glad you got it? Do you think, okay, this is what needed to happen for Nintendo? And we'll start with Onesie first this time.
Okay, so I've had it for the best part of a day. I haven't really touched it too much, I'll be totally honest with you. I had it arrive on Friday, I believe. Was it Friday? Was it Friday?
Saturday.
No, it was Friday, sorry.
Oh, Friday, okay.
Yeah, I had it arrive on Friday No. Yes? Yes. Honestly, I've been on night shift. My day is like, my body clock is fucked up. Yeah, but I got it on Friday. Just before I had to go to work, so I didn't want to unbox it and plug it in before I went to work, so I wanted time to actually sit down and properly play with it. On Friday night at work, some shit happened that made me like not in a great mental space, so I decided on Saturday, while I was sleep deprived and trying to reset my sleep schedule, I wasn't going to mess with it. I wasn't going to do anything to it except set it up, which I did. I set it up after I'd had my dinner like late in the evening. And then today, I plugged it into the streaming setup. I played some Scarlet and Violet just to see how it looked and see if I needed to, because I wasn't sure personally if I needed to buy like an upgrade pass or something, because I didn't know if Scarlet and Violet was one of the ones. Obviously, no, I now know I didn't. But then I played a Draft League game on it, plugged in my Elgato as well to make sure that it worked properly. It does. And yeah, it's buttery smooth. It sounds fantastic. Like, the speakers don't sound like a garbled mess like the regular Switch does. The Joy-Cons, don't know if you can see, they're a little bit bigger than the regular Joy-Cons, but they feel amazing. They have like a
Shall I do it for everyone?
stick.
Shall I do it for everyone? You ready?
Do it.
Right there. I didn't do it. Okay, you ready? It's the magnets. You ready?
Yep.
Let me just line them up. I'm not doing a fair representation. Oh. Oh, just listen to the slot, bro. Listen to the slot.
In German, we call this Vorführ effect.
Vorführ.
Sounds good, bro. It sounds good. It's
It sounds fantastic. But it feels good. The Joy-Cons as well, they have like a non-stick material that they're built with as well. And you can feel it as you try to slide them through your hands. You'll feel them like sticking to your hands in a good way. Like they have like a friction. Right? Yeah, it's like a matte effect, exactly. They fit in your hands perfectly. They're curved, so they don't like dig into your hands. The screen, it looks fucking beautiful. It's so much bigger and it's so much more
better
vibrant.
than an OLED ones. I know you said you wanted.
Surprisingly, yeah,
much better than an OLED. Yeah,
it's on par with the OLED Steam Deck that I've got. Like, it is on par with that at least. Maybe slightly worse, but for me, I couldn't see any difference between it. The colors just popped.
OLED, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's on par at least with my Steam Deck OLED as well, which is saying a lot. So yeah, very, very much enjoy using it so far. It looks fantastic. It plays fantastic. It didn't take anywhere near as long as the regular Switch to set up. The transfer process was quick as fuck. But the whole monetary side of it is the only thing that's stopping me from saying fucking buy one now. If you've got the money, buy one now. If you don't have the money, don't break the bank to get it.
Okay.
Correct.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Napster, you've also played about with your Switch 2 now, good sir. Thoughts and feelings as in, are you happy you got it? Do you think it's worth the money? And I know it depends from person to person, but for you.
So, I'm in an incredibly fortunate situation for the money for my Switch because technically my employer paid for 66% of it. And I don't mean via my paycheck, so like, whereas everyone else here is waiting months and months. Realistically, with Twitch payouts, I'm going to have mine back in my bank account in 3 months.
That's
I'm
sick.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate on that part. There's not really any games, like specifically for the Switch 2, that I'd say you need to go out of your way for it right now. If you're enjoying Scarlet and Violet as is, like if you're okay with the visual glitches, like I know obviously MFG, that's not really your cup of tea, but like most people, visual glitches aren't going to stop their enjoyment of the game. So like for most people that'll be perfectly fine. I did end up buying one game that is exclusive to the Switch 2 so far. I ended up getting the remaster of Bravely Default. That was my launch game that I got since I couldn't get Mario Kart World. And I haven't even booted it up yet. But so far, I'd say for me, it's worth it. And I mean, I've mostly been playing PLA on it. The load time is faster. And my shiny luck has been better on the Switch too. So maybe it's just a better console than the Switch already.
So, like, me and thank you, by the way, Napster and Onesie. I appreciate you giving me your hands-on experience. Obviously, we both know I've probably had, if not me or Napster, but I might have had the most experience so far with the Switch 2 in terms of streaming. Now, bear in mind, my streaming setup is not 60 frames, so it's more than what the Switch was, so I can definitely tell the difference. But I've had time to play it in handheld and on my 4K 60 television to actually experience the whole thing. And this is how I can explain to you people how much of a difference this is, right? I watched a speedrun yesterday of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on the Switch 2. And you know the starting segment from the introduction cutscene of the Academy to the point you meet Nimona, get your starter, and then you arrive on Route 1, or whatever you want to call it, Area 1 South Province, right? Do you know how much time was saved in the first segment for the Switch 2 speedrun?
2 minutes.
4
5 minutes.
minutes.
40 seconds. Wow.
4 minutes
I
was
was close.
saved. 4 minutes was saved across the entire...
Because I know how shit Scarlet and
Bro,
Violet is.
That's how bad the frames are. I've watched loads of different videos of people's reactions, and everyone says the same thing. They feel like they're playing Scarlet and Violet on super speed. They feel like the game's sped up. It's not. It's just how it's meant to be, right? And
If you'd like to showcase how it looks with, like, because I know you can't record in 60 frames per second, Flob, but I can stream it to you in 60 frames per second. So if you would like to show it off at any point, let me know. I'm happy to go and show you what Lag Lake now looks like on the Switch 2.
well, yeah. So towards the end of the stream, what we'll do before we wrap up the podcast, just load it up and we'll have a little showcase just to show. Yeah, man, absolutely. And of course, regardless, you can still look online. There's still 60 frames videos you can watch. But no, we can definitely have a little exclusive sneak peek. But I loaded it up and
I have a video right now that I could show.
no, there we go. There we go. There's loads though. There's loads of people reacting to it. There's loads of people talking about it. But you cannot play Scarlet and Violet on the Switch 2 and go back to the Switch 1. You can't do it. And there's going to be some people there's people out there. You boys have probably heard this. There's people out there that go, I can't tell the difference between 30 frames and 60 frames. Right? How many times have you heard that? Be honest with me.
I used to be one of them. I'll be honest, I used to be one of them. But now I've experienced it. I can fucking tell the difference.
I was one until I had the Series X, and I was like, why is the turning of the camera so fast? And I was like, wait, no, it's not fast. It's just smooth. It's smooth. And then I started to notice it. And for the whole generation of the Switch 1, I wanted a Switch Pro, right? Remember the rumored Switch Pro? I wanted a Switch Pro because I wanted to experience some of my favorite games in 60 frames. This is all I wanted, bro. I don't give a fuck about visual glitches. I don't care about the graphics of a game. It's Nintendo. It's not fucking Gears of War 6, right? But I just wanted smooth fucking frame rates. And I'll say this one thing before moving on. The frame rate of Scarlet and Violet is so good. I can't even play Legends Arceus now. That's how good Scarlet and Violet's frame rate is. I cannot play Legends Arceus just because of the difference in frames. I can't do it. It's my head.
Those of you who don't know, Flob has said that Legends Arceus is like his favorite game ever.
Yeah, it's
Like,
in Pokemon.
Not just Pokemon
yeah.
game. It's at least one of your top 5 games ever.
Yeah.
It's all you've really been streaming. You've been absolutely obsessed with it. Like, so for Flob to say that, it means so much. The big question I have for you, Flob, though, obviously we both know that your partner has had some issues with Scarlet and Violet because of potential motion sickness. Has that been fixed?
So I don't know. I don't know if Sophie's awake. I don't know if she was lying in bed. She was reading. I don't know if Sophie can answer herself. She has had. Obviously, I've said to Sophie while I'm at work, or even if you want to use the Switch while I'm doing videos, go for it. Do what the fuck you want on it. It's yours and mine until you get yours. She has had a play about. She's mainly played Mario Kart. I'll be honest. She fucking loves Mario Kart World. She might be able to answer better than me. She hasn't had too much experience with Scarlet and Violet. I would be shocked if she got motion sickness. If Sophie got motion sickness, I'll be like, it's your fault. Do not blame Pokemon. That's what I'd say. Do not blame Pokemon. It is not Pokemon's fault. It is not Pokemon's fault. And again, if Sophie, I haven't had motion sickness, but haven't played Pokemon. So again, but then Mario Kart was 60 frames anyway on the Switch 1, I believe, right? Maybe I'm wrong about that. It was smooth. It was very
Feels
smooth.
like 60 frames, yeah.
Yeah, so Mario Kart never had frame rate issues even to begin with. It just looks better now and is much bigger.
So my question for Soph would be, before the next podcast, do us a favor, sit down with Scarlet and Violet for an hour and a half, 2 hours on the Switch 2. See if that still persists, because that's always been a curiosity to me. I know a lot of people have suffered with the motion sickness aspect of Scarlet and Violet on the regular Switch. If that's been fixed, then for me, this game's gone from a recommend but with a lot of issues to a hard recommend, you know?
The only issue I think people will have, and this is a Scarlet and Violet problem, is you may receive headaches just because of how small the Pokemon are, the lighting of the game, issues that the Switch 2 can't fix. It's a engine problem, it's a game problem, it's not a console issue. That would just be the software issue itself. Again, if it was just the lag of the camera as it turns, and if that's what made you motion sick, you ain't going to get that on the new patch. You're not going to get it on the new patch. I think Napster said he experienced raids still not being great. Nap, I remember you saying that in stream, was it? I think.
Yeah, so from what I've gathered, I was doing, as some of you have done in the community, herba harvesting, where we go to raids that people post, and usually they have more herba to them. And I was just in a raid, and I was just fixated on the crystals in the background, because what normally was the Pokemon floating in the crystal, you know how you can see it just floating there? Instead it was going like from the top right of each crystal to the bottom left, and there was no fluidity whatsoever. They were just like teleporting from one side of the crystal to the other. Almost like it was going so fast that the system couldn't keep up. And MFG did say it might be that the person is still hosting from Switch 1, which might be the issue, which could be. I haven't tested it with just my own raid on my Switch yet. But my experience so far is Terra raids are ass.
Well, there's two things I want to do with you, Nap, if that's okay, at some point. I know you're probably busy after this podcast, so you might not be able to tonight, which is fine. I want to do a little Union Circle with you on the Switch 2, and just to see how the Union Circle performs online together, right? Because we know it was pointless playing the Union Circle on Switch 1. I imagine it won't be great,
so laggy.
but I'm very intrigued just to see how it works with the Switch 2 together, right? And maybe we have to do a duo raid at some point just to test that, because we know that it's still
I can do that after the cast.
Yeah, man. We can definitely.
Or we can do it to end the cast.
Yeah, sure. We could. Yeah, what we'll do is before we end, we'll probably join up while we do a talking segment. And if Onesie also wants to cast his stuff to give some people stuff to look at, then fine. So going from Scarlet and Violet, I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to mention on Scarlet and Violet. A little debate topic I was going to have is, does this now make Generation 9 one of the best Pokemon games? Because each and every Pokemon game has its problems. Scarlet and Violet, so let's be honest ones, we said from the get-go, if it wasn't for performance problems, we would really fucking enjoy this game, no? So now I ask, now that that's essentially been eliminated, which it has, I've done 6 hours of footage recording, and I'm having nothing but a good time, man. I'm having nothing.
I went to
but a
Lag
good
Lake.
time.
I went to Lag Lake and I did a terror raid just to see if the lag would still persist. I expected a few frame drops in Lag Lake. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was smooth as butter. It felt amazing. I'm so impressed. Obviously, I can't fully recommend Scarlet and Violet just because of the console they released on. They are 2-3 years old at this point. They were fun games on the Switch, but they definitely had their issues. On the Switch 2, it makes up for those issues massively, but that still doesn't take into account the fact that they were still basically fucked at 30 frames per second with ridiculous lag on a console that couldn't handle them. It makes me wonder the jump in quality from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2. Were Scarlet and Violet being developed for the Switch 2, and then they had to drop it back due to delays or a change in Nintendo's marketing strategy?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I'm not gonna allow that as an excuse either.
Oh, it's not an excuse. I'm just
No.
curious, you know.
I know you don't mean it as an excuse, but I know that some people will go for it as an excuse because it just makes sense if you think about it ad hoc reactionary. No.
It still doesn't excuse it at all. Like, they should never have been released in the state they were in for Switch. There were game crashing bugs. There were, like, I don't know if any of you remember. I'm sure, Flob, you will, because I know you started content on it quite early. There were, the lag was even worse early on. There were some very minor performance patches. Very, very minor. They didn't do much for places like Castle Royale Lake. They didn't do much for terror raids, but they did make the majority of the game a little bit more manageable. But I wonder, the fact that I'm even asking this question speaks multitudes to how well this plays on the Switch 2.
Okay, so just to answer your question about early on in Scarlet and Violet, Lag Lake, the first nickname it had was Crash Lake, because that's where everyone's game crashed, right? They did patch it to where crashes didn't happen as often, which is fair. I didn't receive many crashes, to be honest, at all in my time on Scarlet and Violet. Fun fact, though, when the DLC launched, they were even more laggier than the main Paldea region, despite being much smaller, which me and Onesie spoke about a podcast after Kitakami released. We both, funny story, me and Onesie both played it day one. Neither of us knew the other had it, so we just come at the end of the day and we said, "Oh, what, you've been playing it? Oh, mad!" And we just had a conversation.
Now finished it.
Yeah. And our main thing was, why is the performance worse? Right, that was our main issue with the Kitakami DLC. And Blueberry Academy, again, similar thing. The performance is just awful, which makes no sense. A lot of people said because of Paldea is so big and open. I'm like, hey, what's your excuse for fucking Blueberry Academy then? Right, it's tiny. Why is that happening? But to have a little rebuttal before I asked Napster and Twisty, you said because of the console it launched on, you can't essentially give it that point, right? So what about Legend ZA? Because Legend ZA is for 2 separate consoles at launch. Are we going to base it because it releases on the Switch 1? Is that going to factor into its review? Or because it's also launching on the Switch 2, how do you combat that? I understand Scarlet and Violet, 3 years later, is it a bit too late? I understand that. But in terms of Legend ZA, would you still have that
tough
opinion?
question.
If it's going to perform like shit on the Switch 1, spoiler alert, it will. It's going to be terrible, right? Yes. Maybe it'll be 30 frames per second. I doubt it. So are you going to judge it because of that, even if it's perfect on the Switch 2?
That's a tough question. I guess because it's releasing on both consoles, I'm going to judge it based on the console's version. Like, it'll be a case of if you've got a Switch and don't have a Switch 2, don't fucking buy this. But if you've got a Switch, plays like butter. Go ahead and pick it up. It'll probably be just that from me, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So, Napstar, because I have a feeling I might know. I know me and Twisty spoke about this a little bit. So, I'll come to Twisty last, because I think I might have a guess on Twisty's. But, Nap, your opinion on Scarlet and Violet now. Do you think this renders Generation 9 as I'm going to say good generation, because you probably enjoyed it anyway. But it's now, that was one of the plaguing problems, right, was performance. Now that that's essentially fixed for this console, do you think Generation 9 has a shout at being one of the best generations?
So I have two different answers for you,
Okay.
both of varying degrees. So, the starting answer is, at this point in time, no.
Okay.
We are in the dying embers of Generation 9. Generation 10 is a year out, maybe. This should have been how the game launched when it launched. The fact that it took them almost 3 years to get to this point is darn near inexcusable, because no other Pokemon game has really been able to update like this outside of the Switch generation. We didn't really have that many performance updates on the 3DS. We didn't have that many DS. Didn't have that many GBA that I can think of.
I mean,
And
sorry to interrupt. Platinum fixed Diamond and Pearl's performance issues have been slow.
That's
Yeah.
I was going to mention that. That's a different scenario, though, because
Yeah, I
that's
get your
an
point.
entirely new game. You know?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
sister game.
Yeah. I just think I know it's not. I know what you mean. Like, the games have had patches, but then there was no performance problems really on those games to need it in terms of what Scarlet and Violet had. You know, to warrant one, in my opinion.
Listen, Martin Solrock is a performance issue in Sword and Shield, and I will not hear anything else.
Oh no, because I'm not talking about Switch. I'm talking about just 3DS generation. My
Okay.
bad. Yeah.
The other part of this is, I think only time can really tell if it will be remembered like that, because I know Onesie's going to agree with this. Alola was not fondly regarded when it first dropped. Honestly, a lot of people dropped Pokemon when Gen 7 came out. And now there are a lot of Alola apologists, a lot of Alola fans. What is it? 8 years later?
I was always an Alola boy.
Like, I hated Sun and Moon when it first dropped.
Hey,
And now Alola, I put it up there in probably the top 3 generations of Pokemon.
See, I feel like
I mean, there's
I'll go on Twist.
this form of like reevaluation, kind of revisionism, that happens a lot in the Pokemon community. I think Generation 6 initially was like regarded very mixed. Now Mega Evolution is the most popular thing to ever come out in the franchise, and everyone wants like Megas every single generation. Same kind of with at first, up until around 2018, I disliked Gen 5 massively. It was only because I shifted my way of how I perceive gaming from a gameplay perspective to a story-driven perspective that I suddenly started to enjoy Gen 5 so much more. And you know, sometimes perspective changes, sometimes you look at what's currently available and you see what you had and you know that what you had was better. It's not unusual, but it's still kind of strange how frequently that happens.
Crazy thing for me is seeing Gen 8 apologists. There are people fucking saying, you know, Sword and Shield wasn't as bad as we thought it was. Yes, it fucking was. It's
No,
worse.
Adventures.
It was.
No,
Dynamax Adventures.
let me say this. About these Pokemon games. I don't care what anyone says. I genuinely believe I'm one of the only Pokemon fans that doesn't change their opinion with nostalgia. And I think, ones, you can give me that at least, right? Look at Gen 5. I played through Generation 5 last year. I think Napster, you were there for both playthroughs. I played through both of them. Napster even featured on an episode for the first part of Gen 5. I played through
Hell
both,
yeah.
right? Now, I can definitely respect the games more, but I still do think it was a jarring experience for Pokemon audience. Now, jarring doesn't mean bad. Jarring doesn't mean bad at all. I think Black and White 2 did a great thing. I think Black and White 2 fixed what was wrong with Black and White 1. Black and White 1 alienated a lot of the audience by eliminating so many favourites until the post-game. And I think the damage was done, and we know the damage was done because Black and White 2 did not sell very well. In the slightest, it's one of the worst selling Pokemon games, right? But that doesn't talk for its quality. Sales kept W, as Twisty would say, right? The quality of Black and White 2 is
I
phenomenal.
still stand by that, by the way.
Black and White
I
2
need to get a
is...
soundbite of you saying that.
Black and White 2 is fantastic. My opinion hasn't changed on Black and White. Story was good. I said that back then. But I still think it was a very alienating experience, causing a lot of people to drop off. Whereas Black and White 2, I didn't play it years ago. I only played it a little bit. And I couldn't have an opinion until I finished it. I said that on a podcast a few times. Gen 6, this whole nostalgia thing about Gen 6, for me, it's the same thing it always has been. It opened the doors for thousands of content creators. And so many people right now in the scene who are big and famous because of Pokemon are because of Generation 6. Shiny Hunters especially, right? Same with, if you didn't have a Wii, you couldn't record Draft League battles. Whereas, you know, I mean, just because of Battle Revolution.
I didn't have a Wii.
Because of Battle Revolution. Because that Battle Revolution opened the doors to a lot of...
I suppose.
Because unless you had a DS capture card, you couldn't do it, right? Whereas with the Wii, all you needed was a normal capture card. So I think it opened the doors to a lot of people to get into shiny hunting. But it was the Switch that really opened the floodgates because you no longer needed a capture card. You just needed a basic HDMI capture card, right? To Generation 7, I've always had the same opinion. One of the games didn't need to exist, right? To me, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon is far too similar to Sun and Moon. Far too similar. I don't care which one has to go. One of them has to go, right?
Get rid of the Ultra games. They had a worse story.
The sister games, if you want to call them that, some are bold enough to call it a sequel. It didn't need to happen. I didn't need to play through both games twice. It could have been a DLC. It could have been a DLC. It should have been.
Even I remember thinking that back at the time, mate. I remember I won my copy of I think it was Ultra Sun. I won it from a Pokemon tournament that was happening at a local game in university. And I remember like sitting down to play it and thinking, I really did not need to play this. It's just the exact same game again, just with a very slightly different story later on towards the end. Like it changed so little that even like when I was like in the midst of, oh yeah, let's go, I'm really hyped up for this. I just remember thinking, what's the point of this?
Like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are superior for me just because of the features added in. I think the game with more content for me, excuse me, is the better game. But it still didn't need to exist, right? At least with... And now Generation 8, I don't understand Gen 8 apologists. I think Sword and Shield looks beautiful in the main routes. Wild area looks fucking awful, right? But the main routes and the main towns look beautiful. They have a look of an ocean, but the depth of a baby pool. That's the problem with Sword and Shield. The towns looked fantastic. But who remembers the trailer for Sword and Shield with Motostoke? This whole Manchester-esque city. And we thought, oh my God, we can explore around it. We fucking couldn't. There's like 5 buildings you can go in. Same with Wyndon, right? The whole of London, but it's 3 buildings. You know, that's the problem with Sword and Shield. It looks beautiful, but the depth is not there. Whereas it did introduce DLC, which I think was a fantastic change for Pokemon. I think DLC was the best change for Pokemon. I don't care less about sister games. I don't need to play for the adventure again.
Depends on how it's integrated. I stand by the point I've made like 50 fucking hell, like 50 episodes or so. The fact that the Isle of Armor DLC was not part of the main game is part of the reason why Sword and Shield is so incredibly bad. It should have been main game content, and Crown Tundra should have been one big thing to cap it all off.
I disagree
stick
with
by that.
The reason why I disagree is because if you make Isle of Armor the main game content, then the only DLC is the Crown Tundra, which doesn't look that great if you think about it. Whereas the Isle of Armor, I'd agree with you, worst DLC we've ever had in Pokemon. I'll agree with you 100%. I don't think it was great. we had a legendary that arguably ruined VGC in Kubfu and Urshifu, right? I don't fucking care for that Pokemon at all. Couldn't care less. Still couldn't tell you the difference between the swimming and dark form. Couldn't care less. But I don't think it could have been in the main game. Not only because it brought back Pokemon that were missing, but the DLC looks better because there's 2 expansions in it to cover a whole year. In me, that makes more sense from a content perspective than tacking it on. Because at least then it kind of makes sense in the DLC. I mean, the DLC in Scarlet and Violet is way better, let's be honest. But I don't know about you, Pew. Do you think Isle of Armor should have been, like Twisty says? Do you think Isle of Armor should have been DLC? Or do you think... No, Twisty said it should have been in the main game, sorry. Or do you think it should have been DLC? What's your thoughts on that, quickly?
I think the DLC saved Sword and Shield. Like, I don't rate Sword and Shield highly at all. So I think if the DLC was included, I might have had a bit more of a favorable opinion of it. I just remember playing Sword and Shield and thinking, this is actually shit. It's easy. The story is non-existent. The gameplay's like ass in the wild area. I just remember feeling like it was actually so bollocks. You know?
It's just like going into an empty ocean, right? So far you can go, but there's nothing to do. You know, yeah.
Like, they played really slowly too. Like, the difference between Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet's wild encounters is crazy. Like, Sword and Shield, typical Pokemon standard. You go into the grass, Pokemon appeared. Send out my Pokemon. Rah! Pokemon appears. Now you get to choose your attack. Scarlet and Violet.
The stream is copyright struck.
But, like, it's a difference between, like, having to wait 15, 20 seconds before you even get to choose a move in Sword and Shield to, like, 5 seconds in Scarlet and Violet.
I would agree with your point if you take out Scarlet and Violet and add Legends Arceus. Legends
Arceus even more so.
Legends Arceus, because you saw a Pokemon in the wild, you could just catch it immediately. You could battle it, but the battle was seamless. Whereas in Scarlet and Violet, if you encounter it, it's fast, I agree. It's much faster than Sword and Shield. But you still have to do the whole, you know, hey, Blipbug appeared, and then go, Swatamon, right? And that shit starts. But sorry, tangent aside, I think Crown Tundra saved Sword and Shield specifically. I agree with that opinion. Not only was the hunt for the legendaries really fucking cool and added mystery back to Pokemon, it changed the longevity of Sword and Shield massively. I mean, DA Showdown, we've had 2 events out of that alone, right? Probably multiple streams. Someone in our community, Voices, who's one of the biggest DA creators in the Trainer Lounge community, he's done fucking hundreds of streams on DAs. It's mad. But I never did ask Twisty. Sorry, Twisty, going to you to go back to the earlier topic. I think I know the answer, but does Scarlet and Violet on the Switch 2 save Generation 9, or is it too little too late for you?
Here comes Twisty. The Switch 2 version of Scarlet and Violet does fuck all for the reputation of the actual game. And you can have a different opinion, but I'm gonna call your opinion shit. It's absolutely embarrassing to have people come out and say that, to even think that, we should have just waited for Switch 2. You should have played Scarlet and Violet and Switch 2 from the beginning. Fuck you. If any of you think that, fuck you. Like, seriously. I don't mean this jokingly. Okay, that actually was a joke. The fact is that while Scarlet and Violet has like this open world feeling, yeah, sure, it has an interesting concept in which you can do everything in whatever order you want to. You could literally like do the worst geometric shapes in the world and it functions that way. It's still fundamentally flawed because Nintendo is a bunch of weaklings that do not have the balls to go with I want to say a structure that actually adapts to the playstyle of any individual player out there.
You mean scaled leveling, right?
One, yeah, level scaling, one of the biggest things that they should have added, but nah, we don't. Either we don't know how to do it, or we don't care about it, and therefore we don't want to put it in. Completely different topic. I could have talked about this for another half hour, but the fact that it's not in makes the game, just in general, really, really bad because you either do the basic recommended route or you grind in between encounters of your preferred choice of what you want to do, and therefore you are over leveled for things that you've skipped, and that suddenly becomes less fulfilling because it's too easy and you one shot everything. Boring. Overall, as well, to add on that, I think that there's something lost with the lack of the seamless catching. I think that they should have really taken the legend style of the seamless catch and put that into Skull and Violet as well. So for me, it's also flawed in that regard. That's more of a nitpick, however. So agree to disagree if we really want to go there. And last point from me, the world is fucking barren. It's boring to even traverse. You see, most of it is just plain field. It goes up, it goes down. There's like how many landmarks? Maybe 5? 10 tops. And I don't think
10
anyone can
sites,
even.
Yeah, the 10 sites of Powder would be the number.
And I don't think even fans of the game can name all 10 off the top of their head. I just don't think that. So, yeah, for me, even with the better frame rate of the Switch 2, it's still a massive disappointment. And the better frame rate and all of that, it doesn't excuse Skull and Violet being the way it is in any capacity.
So, it's been a very long time until me and Twisty have been able to have a back and forth on the podcasting, and I'm actually gonna rebuttal your claim. Now, first of all, I think Onesie might have said it, and I think you've said it. I've heard it should have been like this from the beginning. Okay, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet was no way in shape or form getting to 60 frames at launch, and I know you guys never said. I know what you meant. I know what you guys meant. It should have been at least a stable 30 frames performance, which the Switch can handle, right?
It's the stability that I meant.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you on the fact that the fact of the matter is it released 3 years ago on the Nintendo Switch. Well, nearly 3 years ago, right? We're 2.5 years ago, if you want to be exact.
Let's round up.
Yeah. 3 years, right? No, that's fair. And I want to look at Scarlet and Violet not from a game created by Game Freak and Nintendo. I want to look at Scarlet and Violet for the region, for the story, for the music, for what we play a Pokemon game for, right? The problem with Scarlet and Violet for me, I couldn't enjoy the game because of the problems tacked onto the game. I always said, if they fix these problems, I genuinely think Scarlet and Violet would be a fantastic game, right? I've always said that fact. I've said, but because of the problems, I can't. Now, allow me to explain why I think it's a really good game on the Switch 2. Since starting again, I'm running around the routes, exploring different ruins, okay? Finding out where the different legendaries evolve, getting involved with the lore of the game, speaking to each trainer, trying to find out the dialogue, where things match up, trying to find the lore of each area, the South Province, the North Province, trying to find out why certain Pokemon live in certain parts of the routes. I see Twisty laugh, it's making me laugh, right?
Sorry, I just read Naps's comment. Here comes Twisty with his
that's what I was laughing at earlier.
And I didn't see it before my rant, and it just makes me like crack up.
Like seeing all of the towers with the Gimmighoul sitting on top of the towers, understanding the lore of that. Now, in my playthrough, I'm trying to explore the region without Miraidon. And theoretically, it shouldn't be possible, but because of some little hit things you can do that. And trying to traverse some of the areas without Koraidon and Miraidon has gave me a new look on the game. With Koraidon and Miraidon, you speed through the game without even taking a second to look around you and just see the sights of Paldea, the battles, the hidden Easter eggs with the trainers. There's a lot you miss in Paldea when you speed through the game, because that's how they designed it with the Legendary, right? You just get on your mount and you go and you're gone. And I think there's so much to miss. So I think I'm really going to enjoy this playthrough now, because the one problem I had with the game's gone. The one problem I had is finished, right? And now, not only at top of that, you said the world felt empty, but with now over 39, by the way, the number's 39 apparently, 40 if you count the shiny, with 40 Pokemon appearing on screen at once, it doesn't feel that empty anymore, you know? Before it was 15, but now there's Pokemon everywhere you look. It's just rammed full of wild Pokemon running around. So to me, it doesn't feel that empty anymore.
I just quickly want to add to that. There's a reason I mentioned landmarks or like points of interest just in general, like added onto the sentence.
Yeah,
I didn't mean that not only are there not a lot of Pokemon spawning, which the Switch wasn't able to do that. It's also that the landscape is just, you have maybe a flower field to your right and maybe like that little like hill to your left. Aside from that, there's not a lot going on. So that is what I meant with the world feels empty, because there's not a lot of like actual filling going on there.
See, if I think of it from, I don't know, again, we'll move on just so you guys can have input in this as well. If you look at the region of Paldea, from a standpoint, it doesn't look like there's a lot going on. And I don't mean from a gameplay standpoint, I mean from a region standpoint. Like, you start in a very nice little small town. You start off in a little small woodland root forest. There's a cave little system that you end up going through. Then you find out there's this huge open field. In the open field, there's mountains you can climb. There's parts of old ruins you can explore. Then you've got the main city, Mesagoza. To your left, you've got a deserted region with a random water city with elevators. There's actually a lot of depth. You've got Casseroya Lake. Then just behind Casseroya Lake, in the background, you've got golden oak trees where Heracross and Forretress spawn. There is quite a lot of depth to the map, to be honest with you, when I think you take it in. But for me, I couldn't take it in because of the plaguing problems. But now I actually can. And again, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only person here that can actually start to see the beauty of Scarlet and Violet. I mean, not graphically. I'm not going to go that far. Graphically, it's fucking shit. But for the region itself, like, if the region was translated to anime, I can actually see a lot of positive in the region. But before we move on, is there anyone that would like to add anything onto that before we go into the second thing I want to talk about?
You've kind of hit the nail on the head, the pair of you have.
Yeah. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about, I think Twisty's definitely going to have a fun opinion on this, because this is something Twisty likes. So I want to talk about Mario Kart. And I want to say there's a problem right now that a lot of people are having with Mario Kart World. Do any of you have any idea what this problem is?
I haven't played the game yet. I have no idea.
Okay.
The game, so I haven't touched it.
Seen a couple of things on Blue Sky, like very vague things. I'm trying to remember what it even was, because I actually can't remember it off the top of my head.
So, Mario Kart World, very fun game. Fun as fuck. Me and Sophie having the time of our life. Knockout mode, fantastic, right? Knockout mode, it's rough, it's fast paced. It's a good 10-minute long match. It's like a mini battle royale in the racing game. It's so much fun. But one of the problems plaguing the game, and a lot of people are saying it, so you know the Grand Prix in Mario Kart 8, you would have 4 racetracks, right? And each racetrack would have 3 laps, yeah? 3 laps, and then you've 4 if you finish, right? So the problem with Mario Kart World that we've got, you start a Grand Prix. The first race is 3 laps, which is fantastic, right? But then when you finish...
Now I know what you're on to.
When you finish that race, you then have an intermission race where you have to race to the next racetrack, right? In the open world. But the problem is, when you get to that next racetrack, you only do 1 lap of that race. So 2 laps get took up racing to the actual track, so to speak. Then when you get to the track, you do one lap, and then you repeat that 3 more times for the next 3 races, and then it's over. So you only do 3 laps on one circuit for the entire Grand Prix. The rest of it is one straight race to the map, and then just one lap. And then after that,
It's really weird.
It's weird. After that one lap, one straight race to the map, one lap. Then the 4th race, one straight race, then one lap. And that's what the Grand Prix is. And a lot of
Does
people...
the intermission race like count towards your end standings?
Yeah, so the intermission race is counted as one of the race. So you have 4 races. The first race is just 3 laps in the one race. Then the second map is the intermission going to it, and then just one lap of the map itself. So So the way it works is you have, let's say you do, I don't know, Mushroom Kingdom, whatever the fuck they call it, right? You do Mushroom Kingdom 3 laps, and then you have to drive to Donkey Kong County. But there's 2 checkpoints that you pass, which counts as 2 laps going to Donkey Kong County. And then when you arrive at Donkey Kong County, you do 1 lap of Donkey Kong County, just one small circle, and then the race is finished. And then you do that 2 more times. It's really fucking bizarre. It's so strange. And it's through a lot of people. A lot of people are really pissed off about it because they would have preferred it if you had done the intermission, right? And then maybe the intermission would have just chose your standing for the next race of where you start position-wise. Or maybe you get maybe it counts for more points in the Grand Prix, I don't know. Or maybe you get to the wrap and then you do 3 more laps and you do it like that. But the idea of doing one straight line, the straight line counts as 2 laps and then you do 1 lap is weird to me. I don't understand that at all.
That is a bit concerning.
Strange. Very, very strange. Go on, just mother.
So I saw this from a big YouTuber that I follow who played Mario Kart World on release day, and the individual said that the intermission races, they are not only really long, but also the tracks are extremely wide for absolutely no reason. And I'm like, maybe... I really don't know what they were thinking with the intermission races, that they take away, like, there are probably going to be a lot of tracks in the game that are going to be vastly popular. Even the new ones, I can already see people talking very, very positively about a lot of the new tracks. And if you are in a Grand Prix where there's like this track direction that you can go to one of your favorite tracks, and you're then denied 2 laps on that track because of stupid, unnecessary, overly long, easy intermission race, yeah, that rightfully pisses off a lot of people. And I can also understand why, on just a standpoint that it shouldn't, yeah, I know I say it shouldn't, but it really shouldn't be this way. Either you take 1 lap off of the intermission race so that you at least get 2 laps, or you, I don't know, make the intermission race something completely different. You, like, close it off and you basically get, like, something like a Formula 1, like, what's the lap called? The warm-up lap before the race starts.
Lap, yeah.
Oh, flying lap.
Yeah, thank you. You could do something like that where, depending on how you like or rank in the intermission race, you then start from that position for the new racetrack.
I'd also say there's possibility that just give people the options to have 1, 2, or 3 laps of post like track 1 laps. You know, like
but
what you can do
right
sorry.
now.
Oh yeah, go on.
Sorry, I just wanted to add one thing. Right now, it's a forced mix. It's a forced mix of intermission and regular racetracks. And I personally, right now, I don't even want to get Mario Kart World, because if that's the regular online experience and it's gonna stay that way, it's not only not a game I want, it's also not worth $80. I'm sorry to tell you.
So the conversation of whether it's worth $80 is definitely a thing anyway. I guess I don't think any game is personally, but I will say this: it's not a problem online because online in certain lobbies you can make it so you can pick four races you want to race in, and all four of those can be free laps. That's fine. The only difference is there's no intermissions included if you do it that way. But you can't get a best of both worlds. You can't do Mushroom Kingdom free laps, then an intermission to Donkey Kong County 3 laps, then an intermission to fucking God knows whatever 3 laps. What I think would have been a perfect way to do it, you do the 3 lap race, and that's where you get your majority points. And then the intermission race, you have a system where 1 to 5 receive between 6 and 5 points, 5 to 10 receive 4, 10 to 15 receive 3. So it's like a little mini race to get some more points for the whole Grand Prix, right? I thought that would have been a cool thing. Now, the intermission isn't that bad. They are quite fun. There's loads of different terrains. There's different... You drive on highways with cars, with ramps. You can grind on this whole fucking... what's the bridge? And you know, like the San Francisco Bridge? It's very similar to the San Francisco Bridge. You can grind on the rails going to the entire top of the bridge. It's really fucking good, to be fair. But it's just weird that the main effort they've put into the game are these singular racetracks, and you can only do 1 lap on the single-player Grand Prix. That, to me, is a bit strange. And if you play online, you can only do 1 lap unless you do a custom lobby, if you will. I don't know. I just think that's a bit weird. But the Knockout Tour is very fun. Knockout Tour is very similar to Grand Prix, but you race to 5 different locations, right? It's basically 5 intermissions with 5 laps of 5 different tracks, right? And the intermissions that take place, you have to get to a certain point. You have to be a certain position before you get knocked out. So you need to make sure you are 12th by the time you hit this part, or you're gone. And it's fucking wild. If any of you get Mario Kart Onesie, if you have it, I suggest Knockout Tour. If you and your partner play it, it's going to be a lot of fun, man. It's a good time.
Very much noted.
Sophie has been grinding a shit ton of Knockout Tour. She's enjoying the shit out of it. But it's good, man. I think it's definitely a good game. But the problem is there's a lot of wide areas. But there's 24 cars, right? So what are you going to do? Have really small areas with 24 cars? Don't make much sense. I think it's one of those. I think the wide areas are kind of needed, at least in the open world. And the cool thing is the open world is really fucking cool. You can drive anywhere with anyone. You can even meet up with other players on there. The 1 annoying thing is you can't do split screen in the open world. That's annoying. You can't do split screen in the open world. But you can do mirror mode. There's a little Easter egg, like Mario 64, where if you drive into a painting, the overworld flips, and it's like a mirror world overworld. It's really cool. Yeah, you can...
Oh, that's cute.
No, yeah, it is super dope. Humble Rumble said, I'm a PS5 owner. Switch 2 has classic Nintendo games I would play, but it's expensive. Nintendo and expensive go hand in hand, my man. Definitely. So, but that's the main thing I wanted to talk about Mario Kart. I just wanted to get that out there because very weird. I don't know. You like messing with a
weird, isn't it?
20-year-old system, right? That a lot of people grow to love. And 200C is not in the game yet. It's 150C. Mirror modes are not in the game in terms of the races. So 150 is the highest you can go so far. I think that's online as well. Each character has about between 8 extra costumes you can unlock, which is really cool, you know. In the intermission races, you get to pass by different drive shops where you can grab food. And each food gives you a chance of receiving one of the costumes.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun. But before, I know, Napster, you said about a union circle before we wrapped up, right?
Yeah, I'm down for doing the Union Circle before we wrap up. A couple things I wanted to bring up, because we did say we were going to talk about the Xbox showcase, and one particular thing that happened at the Xbox showcase.
Take the floor, bro.
So, there's been a lot of speculation in the last week or so about a new trademark that Game Freak put out. Beast of Reincarnation is what it is called. Now, if you've been anywhere on X, on Blue Sky, everyone's just like, oh my god, Legends Johto is coming. This is a Ho-Oh game. We're getting Legends Johto. This is going to be fantastic. So, Xbox Showcase today. I was chilling here in the training lounge with MFG, and we were watching it, and all of a sudden, we see World Premiere. And then we see the Game Freak logo pop up. And we're just like, what the hell? What's Game Freak doing on Xbox? It's like, Game Freak does other games. They've had other games. They've just never been successful outside of Pokemon. But they've had other games. And then we start seeing all this stuff. And it looks gorgeous. It looks absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. If you haven't seen the trailer for Beast of Reincarnation yet, go watch it. It is probably the best graphically rendered game that Game Freak has ever done.
Yeah.
Period.
And check that, yeah.
By a long shot.
But then I was talking to someone in the chat, and they're just like, I thought Game Freak couldn't do games like this. Like, that they couldn't do games at this graphical level. The fact that Game Freak, for a game that's not going to be on a Nintendo console, by the way, it's only for Xbox and PlayStation consoles, can render this beautiful game, but then we're left wanting in Pokemon all the time.
That's so strange. Like, how I swear to God, I thought Game Freak genuinely had like an exclusivity deal with Nintendo. I thought that their stuff had to be on Nintendo only.
No, I
The
think
fact that
just
it's like,
Pokemon, right?
no, I
Yeah,
thought
I
that
think
like, sorry, I was gonna say I thought that it was like synonymous with the two, because Little Town Hero was exclusively a Nintendo game, Harmonite exclusively a Nintendo game, all of their stuff pre-Pokemon exclusively Nintendo games. It's insane to hear that there's a Game Freak game that's not going to be on a Nintendo console.
Well,
That's like seeing fucking Jay-Z and Beyonce. It's like seeing Beyonce out dating Pete Davidson. Like, that's not right.
I
So
think-
this is
oh,
not
yeah,
the
go on.
first
Go on.
time. This is not the first time that Game Freak has done a game that is not on a Nintendo console. Looking back, Tembo the Badass Elephant they did with Sega was only on Xbox One and PS4.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
Um,
forgot about Tembo the Badass Elephant. What a top tier game that turned out to be.
I never said that it was a fantastic game. I'm just saying.
I know.
Also, Little Town Hero was apparently also on PS4 and Xbox One.
It wasn't.
That was one I know you mentioned.
Was it like, because I know some games like Monster Hunter do, like they'll release on one console first and then come to others afterwards. Was it that kind of deal?
Oh, was it a timed exclusive?
I think
I
it
don't-
might have been a timed exclusive.
I don't think it was, you know. I don't think.
I'd
it
have to
was.
look. I'd have to look that up.
I
swear I
it
thought
was
they
a
had
timed exclusive. It was about 6 months before it came to PlayStation, and it was about 9 months before it came to Xbox One and Windows.
Okay. So I don't quite look so stupid.
I mean, with Game Freak though, it's always been the case that it's not like Nintendo own Game Freak; they just own a percentage of one of its franchises, right? Like, they just own it, but they don't own them as a company though. They can do what they please. The only thing they can't do is release Pokemon on another console because Nintendo own part of it, right? They have rights.
I just thought that I thought that Nintendo had like an exclusivity deal themselves with Game Freak. Apparently not. I stand absolutely corrected.
Why would they? They don't make any other fucking game. Very rarely, you know. You'd just be paying.
Basically, the Pokemon company at this point.
You'd just be paying an off chance they. But then I don't know. Like, maybe this game does look good though. I'll be honest. This Beast of Reincarnation does look very good. Like, for Game Freak quality, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks fantastic, which is hilarious that it's going to be on a system that's not a Nintendo system.
Yeah, that's really funny. I'll have to go and check that out after this.
Right. So
Um,
just to let you know, Nap, as well. I am on Scarlet and Violet. So if at all you want to load up the Union Circle, we can take a look, and I'll give you guys
Yep,
a
I've
live
got a-
reaction.
I've got a link code. There was one other thing I wanted to bring up that's actually Pokemon related as well.
Okay, bro.
So we know that with the launch of the Switch 2, Legends ZA pre-orders for digital also started. Everyone's aware of that?
I know me and Twist spoke about the release date last week, but we didn't go into heavy detail.
What are we saying about pre-order numbers, Nap?
So, here's the funny thing. No one, unless you are worried about download size, no one pre-order the Switch 2 version. And I'm going to tell you why. Especially for UK bros. It has been figured out going through the eShop right now. If you buy the Switch 1 version and the upgrade pack, you're actually saving a whole pound compared to the Switch 2 version. It is a whole pound cheaper to get the Switch 1 and the upgrade pack than it is to get the Switch 2 version.
Let's go. That's a whole Freddo.
Also,
Don't say that. That hurts my heart. They shouldn't be a pound.
I know.
it's going to be a voucher game right off rip as well if you want to go that way to save some money as well. For those who know about Nintendo vouchers, you can basically just buy 2 vouchers for $100. So for $50 you can get ZA. So realistically, for $10 cheaper, you could also just get ZA as well for the Switch 2.
That feels like a bit of a blunder.
Oh, it's got to be a blunder.
That's hilarious. That's
I
so
think
funny.
to plug the Switch 2, it'd make more sense to try and have that be the not cheaper option, but more what's the word I'm looking for? Beneficial. You know.
Yeah.
A whole pound cheaper. Yeah, that don't make no sense to me, man.
Well, on a personal level, I'm not going to be pre-ordering ZA for a while until I see what, like, closer to the time, until I see what the exclusivity stuff is. Like, there's no point me, like, throwing money at a game until, like, later on, you know? Like, I don't think pre-orders will ever run out just because of download stuff nowadays, so there's literally no point in me pre-ordering it for now, at least.
Just to say, so me and Nap have some direction. Nap, I was gonna go to probably guys. Okay, Onesie, think of an area in Scarlet and Violet to go to. I just want to test spawn density with Napster right now.
Casseroya Lake.
Okay, Nap, I'm going
Yeah,
to.
that was going to be the...
I'm going to Casseroya Lake. I'll go to. Oh, there's only one fly point anyway.
Yep, to the islet we go.
Do you know where the island that Suicune spawns in? I don't know if you do. It's literally just this way. I'm heading over there if you want to follow. And we'll let you guys know. By the way, it's still very buttery smooth. Like the frame rate online.
Yeah.
Buttery smooth. Like, at least for me it is. I don't know about you, Nap.
Yep.
So maybe some content. Because before, content in Union Circle was fucking impossible, bro. You couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But if we stand together here, I just want to see how many Pokemon actually do spawn in together. It seems to be quite the big number, Onesie and Twisted. I'll be honest with you. I don't know about. I mean, it might be a little bit less Nap, I think, than single player.
I see 11 so far.
Yeah, well, we know 15
12.
was the base. Interesting. Well, it's nice to know it runs beautiful. Okay, I'm happy about that. It runs very well. I think that's amazing. I just wanted to check just to see how well it runs. In terms of spawns, you know what? Before we wrap up, I think we go Area 0, bro. I think we go to the cave Area 0. We try there. I think we do that.
Okay.
So, Ones, you said you're gonna wait for a little while, for Legends ZA, right? To see what the game's about. How do you mean?
Well, I don't think there's any point in spending money on a pre-order when we're not going to get, like, at the moment, any confirmed pre-order bonuses. It's not like they've said to us, if you pre-order now, you'll get a fucking little minifigure of a Zygarde or whatever. Like, at the moment, if I put any money towards a game, it's just money that I'm throwing into the wind until October, you know?
July 22nd is the day that I'm watching out for because that's when we're supposed to have the direct that I believe will give us more information about
Yes.
Legends ZA because that's also the day that physical pre-orders begin for ZA.
Okay, well, potentially after that, may change my mind, but for now, there's literally no point in me pre-ordering it now, and I think for you guys and gals at home, I would also be saying the same. Do not pre-order this game until you get some kind of concrete bonus for doing so. Personally, don't see any reason to do it, so just steer clear until you know a bit more.
I've never understood. Okay, unless you get physical, I understand. I've never quite understood the idea of pre-ordering, number one, a digital game, and number two, pre-orders for consoles are the only thing that makes sense for me, so you can guarantee you've got one on launch day, right? But I don't understand pre-ordering. Like, for me, why am I going to pre-order Legends EA? I'll just buy it before midnight comes so I can play it on midnight. Why would I buy it before? Why am I going to give money
Exactly.
to Game Freak beforehand? What?
Exactly. You're just giving Game Freak like 80 quid or however much it's going to fucking be. You're giving them 80 quid like 4 months before you need to give them 80 quid. It's like paying your rent for 4 months in advance.
Do you know what they should do? Do you know what would be a good idea? And I think game companies should do this. I want you guys to try and argue with me and say this is a bad idea. But imagine you're a game company and you release pre-orders 6 months before the game comes out, and each month the pre-order gets more and more expensive. So the pre-order starts, let's say, I don't know, the first month. If you pre-order 6 months in advance, you can buy the game right now for £40, right? But then next month it's 45, then 55, then 65, then 70. I think that's
Yeah,
a
it'd be
good
more
idea.
like 60 ratcheting up to 80, but yeah, I can see you fucking
I think that'd be a good idea, bro, because then people
That's
actually
so-
give them money, no?
That's so anti-consumerist though, because you're punishing people who don't have the money on hand immediately.
Nah,
If
because
we were talking about any, if
Oh,
we were
go on.
talking about any non-Nintendo company, I would 100% be on board with you. But you know they're gonna start that at $80, and then it'll be all of a sudden, oh hey, look, it's $120 on release day. Oh, you want Pokemon ZA? Well, guess what? You're paying for GTA 6.
I think that's it. If I was a game developer, I'd do that, because I'd be like, listen, the game doesn't come out to 6 months, but I want money now, and they want to get it for cheaper. Boom, win-win, mate. You know what I mean? I think that's a good idea.
The problem I've got with that is that, like, in theory, I get what you're saying, but you know there'd be like some developers abusing their financials using it, and that like it just whenever there's something that makes sense, you know there's some kind of fucking money hungry developer out there that's going to use this as a way to fucking money launder or something.
Money launder, you know.
Bro, that's all pre-orders is. It's money laundering. It's
Basically.
fudging the books, isn't it?
Pre-orders is just money laundering. Wow. I don't know. The gaming world is a very interesting place, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still not too sure what we're expecting. Didn't there used to be a loading screen coming out of the little hole in areas here? That's crazy. Mad. Sorry. Yeah, it runs amazing, Nap. I think that's the test I really wanted to see.
Conclusion. I
I think there's not as many spawns, admittedly, but hey, I don't know. Maybe if you combine a sandwich together, you might be able to break the game a little bit. I think it's fun. Scarlet and Violet, you get a big thumbs up from me in Generation. And I will ask one. What was the one last thing I wanted to ask before we wrapped up? God fucking damn it! There was one last mini topic, but I can't remember it. Fuck! I don't know what it was. Okay, Onesie, Twisty, Napster as a little fun mini topic before we wrap up. In Nintendo Switch, the last generation, we had Generation 8, Generation 9, okay? We had Let's Go Pikachu, Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, Legends Arceus, not in that order, and I suppose Legends ZA if you count it. We had 5 main Switch games for Pokemon. What generations, first of all, do you think it will be Gen 10 and 11? For this generation of consoles, do you think it will be more than that? Let me know. What do you think? I'm intrigued.
10 through 12.
You think 10, 11, and 12?
Because I think we're getting 10 next year, I think 12 is going to end up being Switch 2.
So you think 10? You think 10 will be Switch 1?
I think 10 will be either the very first Switch 2 exclusive, or it will be a Switch 1 and Switch 2 game.
I don't
I
think
can
it'll
see
be
Switch 1, Switch 2.
I don't think it. And I know people are surprised at me saying that because I'm the one that said Legends ZA will be both, and no one agreed. But there's no way Generation 10, in my opinion, is Switch 1. I don't think it is. I think if it releases next year in November, that's
not.
That's near 2 years people have had to get the Switch 2. I think they'll be fine. I understand Legends EA. I think I was right on the nail with that. Made sense. You're not gonna release an exclusive Switch 2 Pokemon game 3 months after the console's launch. So it's never going to do that, and I was perfectly right with that. I think Generation 10, I can't see them wanting to be bogged down by Switch 1 hardware. I think it's a Switch 2 game. I think it has to be. Otherwise, they're just...
I think the only thing I can say is I think maybe unless it's already been in development for Switch 1, I don't know if it would come out on Switch 2, but I can also see if they are looking at the reception to Scarlet and Violet on the Switch 2, and they are still at this moment developing it for Switch 1, it would be silly not to ditch that and put all of their eggs into Switch 2. That's what I think they would be doing themselves a disservice by still developing Gen 10 for Switch 1. I think now is the perfect time for them to make that jump. They have finally, for the first time in a while, some good press about Pokemon after Scarlet and Violet Switch 2 upgrade. I think they have to ride it. Answering your question though, Flub, I think we'll get 10 and 11, and depending on where the future of the franchise is going, because we might have a whole new... We might have a whole new vibe for Pokemon main series going forward because of Pokemon Champions, but that's a whole separate topic for another episode. I think, depending on that, we are probably getting 10 and 11 on Switch 2, and then potentially 12 being a Switch 2/3 cross hybrid.
Okay. I think Twisty. What do you think? What generation they're releasing in a Switch 2?
I am debating if it's really free. I can definitely see 2. And if Game Freak really does not learn from the disaster that was Gen 9 and still tries to shovel out one new generation every 3 years, we might be looking at a free generation Switch 2 cycle. I really hope they don't. I really hope that they learned. I'm gonna go with my gut, and I'm gonna say it's just Gen 10 and 11 with some side game, maybe 1 or 2 remakes. I hope that they don't do anything other than that.
Okay, I'll get my predictions out before we wrap up. So, Generation 10 will release next year. For anyone that goes, it won't. It's the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. Get serious, it's going to release next year, without a shadow of a doubt. What are they going to do? Release Fire Red and Leaf Green on the Switch as virtual fucking software? Fuck off. Right, it's going to be... Generation 10 is next year, right? It will be... They'll do what they did with Sun and Moon, where they'll tease it on Pokemon Day, and then they'll lead up all the way until November, where it will release. They'll wait until as late as possible to give people a chance to get the Switch 2. Generation 10, 2026, right? Then I think, I'm not going to say the exact year, but that opens us up for about... Because a Pokemon region comes out every 3 years, right? When did Sword and Shield come out? Wasn't it 2019? Yeah, 2019.
Yeah.
And Sun and Moon came out 2016, right? I think that's true. Yeah, because Oras was 2014. We didn't get anything 15.
Sworn that
Sun and Moon was
Shield
16.
was 2018.
Nah, Sword and Shield was 2019. I'm sure of it. Because, or was it? No, you might be right. It might be 2018. Swear.
No, it was 2019.
Okay.
I don't know what I've been smoking.
No, it's because Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee came out 2018 because the Switch came out.
I don't know either,
2017.
Twisty, but I want some.
Okay, yeah.
So, but when did Sun and Moon come out? That was 2016, wasn't it? It was. I'm sure it was.
Yeah, it was, because I was in my final year of uni.
2017.
Ultras came out in 2017, I believe.
Yeah, because that came out the same year as the Switch, which was a meme in itself. So every 3 years we've had a region, right? We've had Pokemon Sword and Shield 2019. Then we had 2022, Scarlet and Violet, another 3 years. But it is proven that 3 years is not enough time for the modern generation of Pokemon. We need longer. So I think we get one every 4 years. I think we get one in 2026. Then I think 2030 we get Generation 11. And then I think 2034 we get Generation 12. And that will be the last game on the Nintendo Switch 2. Just a prediction. And by the way, just to really ruin it, I'll be 40 years old when Generation 12 comes out. Mad!
Well, it's like, cut it. Cut the line.
Cut this shit now. Cut it now.
I was only 23 when the Switch came out. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ. God damn it. I'm getting old. Well, with that being said, unless any of you have anything else to say, I suppose we can wrap this quite decently long episode on. We got to about 2 hours, which is good.
I need a poo.
Can you send me a picture, please? Thanks.
Well, take this one version of Scarlet and Violet with you and flush it down the toilet.
No, don't listen to Twisty. He doesn't understand good games, all right? It's now a good game, all right? Before we go, I will say this one thing to Twisty. Twisty, if Scarlet and Violet is not a good game, why did it sell better than in Xenoblade?
Because
Xenoblade
hang on,
wasn't
wait,
that
can I say it?
franchise. Second of all, Pokemon is the biggest franchise in the world. Third of all,
Twisty.
Not
Let me say
everyone-
it.
shut the fuck up! I'm
I
talking.
want to say it.
Okay. I'm not gonna continue the joke.
Because it doesn't have
Sales
that.
kick W.
It doesn't have that, does it, Twisty? That's why. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I was gonna say that's a third one, so you cut me off before I cut.
That's fucking it too. I knew you were gonna get there. I had to. I'm sorry. Normally I'd never cut you off like that. I knew you were gonna get there.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It made the bit way more funny.
I just have one last question for Napster specifically before we do close. Napster, the PNG playing the Switch, what game is it playing?
So that was PLA at the time when I first got it done.
Because while we've been talking, it's just been jamming along playing. Is it playing PLA to this day? Is it still PLA or is it like Donkey Kong?
I mean, let's be honest. It's probably still PLA with the amount of time that I play the PLA. And to Elias, I think I said this in chat, but I'm not planning on getting a new PNG tuber at this point because my PNG tuber is not as well off as I am.
Can't you get your artist just to put a 2 on it? And when the animation just does that, just draw 2 lots of 2, okay? Get her.
I could talk to her about it, but she's basically booked up with art for the next 3 months.
God fucking damn it. It's okay. I'll get a number 2 with an arrow on the overlay pointing to it. All right. With that being said, folks,
Can I do the outro real quick?
go for it, bro.
So, YouTube, Twitch, thank you for joining us for the Xbox Showcase reaction, also known as the Trainer Lounge Reboot Episode 2. Yeah, wrong title. Might be a little bit of advertising issues, but we've been here. We've been talking Pokemon. We've been talking Xbox. We've been talking Switch too. I hope you guys have enjoyed every one of it. You've enjoyed some banter. And make sure to drop a follow if you want to see more of this. And make sure to find Onesie Bennett on YouTube. Twisty Does Things on Twitch. MFG / The Trainer Lounge on Twitch and YouTube, and the Naps Potato on Twitch. You can find all of us doing various content at various times. Make sure to show that love and support because we love you guys too. And I hope you've had a great time.
If you haven't, go fuck yourselves.
And remember, folks,
This fucking guy.
Peace all.
if you suck 5 dicks a day, the Switch 2 is just a week away.
How much are you getting paid?
Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, it won't let me stop. No, it will not let me stop stream.